There are many mysteries in the world. So from a haunted pub to a haunted island, here we have 5 unsolved mysteries. The haunted Plymouth Lighthouse was originally built in 1769, at the mouth of Plymouth Bay in Massachusetts. The original structure had 2 towers lit with oil lamps, being built on the property of its eventual lighthouse keepers, John and Hannah Thomas. Hannah became a very capable lighthouse keeper herself, as John went off to the Revolutionary War and was killed in battle. In fact, she became the first woman lighthouse keeper in America. Some believe Hannah still resides at the location today, even though the original Plymouth Lighthouse was lost to fire and rebuilt in 1803. 1843 saw both towers reconstructed, and by 1924 the northwest tower was removed, as it was no longer needed. The haunted Plymouth Lighthouse South Tower has continued to operate since that time, but today is automated. However, in 1998, the lighthouse had to be moved due to fear of losing the structure due to erosion. A professional lighthouse photographer and his wife decided to stay the night at the haunted location, choosing to sleep in a house adjacent to the light. He awakened in the night to find the upper half of a woman floating above his sleeping wife, and staring at her. The apparition was in period dress and had long dark flowing hair. Some believe this could have been Hannah. Located on Lake Texulo near Mexico City, the Island of the Dolls is one of the creepiest places out there. In the 1950s, a man named Julian Santambarera moved to the island. Legend says there were 3 young girls playing near the water in the 1920s, when one of the girls fell in and drowned in the murky waters. Locals believe that ever since her death, the young girl's spirit has been unable to leave the island. It soon grew quite a reputation as a haunted place, and locals wouldn't go near it at night for fear of what they might see. Julian claimed that as soon as he moved on the island, a little girl began speaking to him. The girl told Julian how she had died, and that she was trapped on the island. He began to get dolls for this little girl, often selling off fruit and vegetables that he had grown on the island, so that he could buy old dolls for her to play with. Julian later told his nephew that it was becoming more difficult to appease the young girl's thirst for these dolls, with him seemingly worried that she wanted him to join her in her underwater grave. The same day he had this discussion, his nephew was returning to the island, when he found his uncle face down in the canal. His body was in the same spot where the little girl had apparently drowned several years before. Today, tourists on the island often speak of the doll's eyes following them. Others have also reported that the mutated dolls whisper to them. Julian's ghost is also said to remain on the island, as well as the young girls. Epping Forest in Essex has a rich history dating back to the Iron Age. There are stories of Roman battles, Norman invaders, and notorious highwaymen. The haunted history of Epping Forest is notorious. Ghost hunts are a regular occurrence throughout the year. As well as the ghost of Turpin, there are numerous other sightings and experiences that have occurred at Epping throughout the years. At the Wake Arms roundabout, the headless apparition of a biker and a horse-drawn coach has been seen in the dead of night. A troubled spirit is said to run out in front of vehicles, staring into the driver's eyes before disappearing right before them. The ghost of a young girl who reportedly drowned near the King's Oak pub has been seen, as well as a headless horseman. At Hangman's Hill, there has been reports of an apparition of a man being seen in a wooded area. Terrifying screams are also heard here. It's said that if you leave your car in neutral on the hill, your car will appear to roll upwards towards the tree where people have been hanged. Chillingham Castle is said to be home to the Blue Boy, Lady Mary, and many other apparitions. Chillingham retains them all because the castle's been unaltered ever since ancient battling days. With all its beauty and calm, Chillingham Castle has seen many ghosts. Apart from Mary and her friends, the Castle family lived exciting and romantic lives. They served kings, but then, as William Shakespeare notes, they rebelled too. With a record 18 nights at the Garter, the family also had no less than 8 famous well-recorded executions. A white pantry ghost in what is called the inner pantry, a frail figure in white, still appears. The silver was stored here and a footman was employed to sleep here and guard it. Historically, one night when the footman had turned in to sleep, he was visited by this woman in white. She was very pale and begged him for water. Thinking it's one of the castle's guests, he turned to obey. Suddenly, he remembered he was locked in and no visitor could have possibly entered. This same pale figure is seen today, and it's thought the longing for water suggests poisoning. Not all of Chillingham Castle's ghosts are those we see. Some are merely felt as impressions on the air. This is the sense of something unseen yet distinctly moving. It can be a chill, dark, creeping sensation, or maybe just an oppressive atmosphere. Besides the Great Hall, the voices of two men are often heard talking. It's never possible to follow their words, and they stop talking if one makes serious efforts to trace them. The moonlight casts the shadows of the battlements across the worn flagstones, and it's not hard to see the shades and shadows come to life. Each individual person is unique in personality, experience, and countless other factors. Therefore, the imprint of a deceased person retains these specialized factors if they're unable to move on after death. These unique characteristics mean that each story attached to each ghost and thereby haunting place is different. Many different factors exist to explain how a place becomes haunted, because of the natural ability of humans to vary from each other on numerous levels. Ye Old Man and Scythe can be found nested in Bolton's town centre, and you can tell from your first glance at the building that this place is old. In fact, time seems to have stood still for this world-famous cider house, to the extent that it actually looks totally out of place today. Needless to say, Ye Old Man and Scythe is one of the most haunted places in Bolton. This is the fourth oldest pub in the whole of Britain, and it's every bit as famous for its resident spooks as it is for holding that title. There have been several different ghosts reported at Ye Old Man and Scythe over the years, but perhaps the most famous one is the spirit of the 7th Earl of Derby, who was actually beheaded right outside the pub. He's been spotted in several spots around the pub. He is certainly not alone, as the pub is alleged to be haunted by no fewer than 20 restless spirits. There have even been reports of poltergeist activity. Drinkers in the pub have reportedly been touched by an unseen force, and also having their glasses moved. This mysterious shadow entity was captured on one of the CCTV cameras. The figure flashes into view before quickly disappearing. Footage was found by manager Tony Dooley, who was woken on Friday morning just after 6 AM by the sound of breaking glass. He noticed that the pub's CCTV cameras had mysteriously stopped working, and when he checked back over the film he was shocked to see the dark figure come into view. The 35-year-old said the following: "It's really shaking me up. When looking at the footage, my hands were shaking. I'm trying to not think about it because this is where I live. I've never really believed in ghosts or anything like that before, but I think I'm starting to now. At first I thought someone had broken in, but I thought it was weird that the cameras had stopped working, and then when I watched it back I saw the figure." So that was 5 mysteries. Thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe for more countdown videos.